talking with Adelaide Bishop. Today is August 10th. Starting to record, I just want to check it out. I've learned the hard way that there are times when things don't work right. Okay, everything seems to be running. I need for you to tell me how you spell your name.
Adelaide.
Mm-hmm.
Bishop, B-I-S-H-O-P.
Okay. Yeah, that's just for safety's sake. I have a co-author, William Youngren, and I'm going to give him all of these tapes. That means that to avoid any typos and so forth, at least that way we've got it. And today's date is August 10th.
Correct.
All right.
Good enough.
Now, we can do this in any possible way that you would like, whatever is going to make you feel the most comfortable.
Always the best thing for me is that people ask me questions and I can respond.
I work the same way.
Okay.
All right. Let me ask you this. At what point, if you can date it so much the better, did you first come into contact with my father?
I can only date it roughly, and it has to have been after my New York City Opera debut, which was in 48, and it was in the late 40s, early 50s.
So it's after 1948 then?
It was after 48.
Okay.
Because we were brought together by W. Colston Lee, and it wasn't until after I made my New York City Opera debut that I was taken under the Lee management.
Mm-hmm. And my father was with Colston Lee at that point.
That's how that works.
And how did it come about that you were doing duo recitals?
I'm not sure how it came about, actually. It was something that Lee suggested to me, and I'm sure that he explored it first with your father to see if this was something that would appeal to him. And I don't recall whether I sang for him, whether we sang together. I think we met. And he was, as always, very charming and very warm, and we got along just beautifully, and it was a done deal. It was very simple.
How did you decide on the programs?
I submitted some groups that I would be prepared to sing. He selected from the groups that I submitted to him, what he thought would work, and then we had a long discussion about whether or not I would sing with him the duet from Rosenkavalier at the end of the second act, and he was sure that I could do it, and I had to assure him that I did not indeed have a low E below middle C.
Because that's a mezzo part.
It is a mezzo part, but it's even low for mezzos. So we compromised, and maybe this is where we did the church scene. And I know that at one point we did the obligatory La Tirare en la Mano.
And that, of course, would have been high from my father.
Yeah, well, we may have transposed it a little for it.
I have, in my records, I've been trying for about 2 years to put together a list of all of my father's performances, every last operatic role and so forth. And somewhere along the line, I came into, I think, in 1939, or thereabouts, Don Giovanni, in which he sang the title role, which strikes me as a mistake. I don't think he ever did it, but it was listed as such in some short bio.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did it. He may have decided, he may have done it once and decided that he'd rather not.
Because this was relatively late for his doing roles. I mean, his normal role was Leporello.
Right.
And at some point earlier on, he also did the Commendatore.
Oh, sure. That's the way it worked out.
But from there to go into the, well, I mean, the Don is still a bass role, but it does go fairly high.
It's a Mozart bass, and those are all high.
Yeah. Anyway, so you worked out the program.
So we worked out the program, and we did several of them. I can't remember how many. And I can't remember exactly where, except for one place which I will come to. But I know that we traveled by train, and Donald Comrie was the pianist.
For both of you?
Yes. And we had a jolly good time, and he was immensely interested in expanding my repertoire in Lieder. And he was very instrumental in doing that. He had many suggestions of things that would be suitable for me. At that time, I had made my debut very early in opera at 17. So I was dealing essentially with the Mozart, Rossini, Donizetti repertoire.
Mm-hmm.
And he undertook my leader education, bless his heart. And we spent a great deal of time when we were traveling on the train of working on that, and he helped me with my German. And was very briefly, but very significantly a mentor, as we didn't use the word in those days.
Mm-hmm.
But he most...
No, I like that word. I think it's a good one.
It's a lovely word. And because it describes exactly what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have to. He could have sat in the corner and read his book and been saved his strength and his energy, but he was very, very generous of himself in that way. I do remember the one time I saw him in a fit of outrage, and it was a concert that we were doing in Houghton, New York, Houghton, and you may want to use...
Thanks very much.
You may not want to use this one.
Well, you know, I'm in the book. I have to fill in. I have to have naturally all of the good things, but the things that didn't go well. That is also part of the picture. I don't in any way want to denigrate, but one does have to give a rounded picture.
As far as I know, the concert went fine. The problem is the way the contract came in. Mine came to me separately. His went to him separately. And it wasn't until we met to take the train up there that I groused about the fact that it was the first time in my life that anybody had ever told me what I was to wear at a recital. And it was apparently a very religious, rigidly restrictive school. And I was told that there would be no such thing as strapless dresses. And those are the only kind of dresses I had at that time for recital. No strapless dresses, and I must be covered completely to the neck and to the wrist. And I was really very annoyed because I had to go and I did not buy a dress. I refused to, but I had one of my slinkiest black dresses made with a black lace top that went right up to my chin and to my wrist. It was much sexier with the black lace than it would have been without it.
I love it.
I was complaining about this, and plus the fact, and he was complaining about the fact that they dared to put in the contract that there would be no drinking, smoking, or swearing on campus. And it was the only time I ever saw him in the dressing room with a cigar in his mouth and a bottle in his brief.
You're kidding. He had a cigar?
He had a cigar in his mouth. Defiantly in his mouth.
Because I don't know, I'm sure somewhere in his life he must have smoked a cigar. He smoked cigarettes.
Well, he had cigarettes, but
he did not.
He wanted to do it upright.
He didn't smoke at that time.
Well, I don't know that he did any, but it was lit. It smelled awful.
Really?
It was lit. He had a bottle in his valise, which he ostentatiously left open, and he was swearing a blue streak, and I had never heard him, he never swore in front of me. Mm-hmm. At any time.
I assume this was swearing in English.
It was in English, and I'm assuming that it was in Russian, too, but I did not know Russian, so if he was swearing in Russian, I think it's safe to assume that he was swearing in Russian, but he was definitely swearing in English. Now, at that time, hell and damn and goddamn were considered swear words.
Yes, right.
Now we use them for commas.
That's correct. Did anybody see any of this?
I think they did, and I don't think that anybody said anything. Now, I did not have the nerve, because I did not have the status of Igor Kipnis, so I did not have the nerve to get rid of the black lace on my dress. But he decided that he was so offended by the implications of what was in there, and he was daring him to throw him off. I think that we were told that we would be asked to leave campus were we to be guilty of any of these sins. Did
you arrive on the day of the concert? Was that the normal system? I'll come back to the other in a moment.
Well, it would all depend. Sometimes we arrived on the day of the concert. It depended on whether we were doing a series of them or not. And I think this was a single date somehow. And matter of fact, think that this is when I met you. I think that we were meeting in Grand Central Station, and he excused himself. He said, my son is coming through here. I forget whether you were going to school or whether you were on an engagement. I think you were going to school still at that time.
Well, if this was 48, or you probably 49, or maybe 50,
Yes,
I was in college then, unless it was in between terms.
that, my memory is not good enough.
So I don't know. Do you recall what kind of a religious institution this would have been?
Oh, it was something very Protestant.
Really? I mean, it wasn't something like Seventh-day Adventist, or...
It may have been.
I've played places like that, and I actually managed to smoke with permission when I was smoking. At Brigham Young. Well, I did it at Brigham Young. I didn't do anything else, but I had a drink.
Good for you. Well, I don't think that it occurred to us to ask permission. I just groused, but your father decided to do something about it. He decided to test it.
Mm-hmm.
He did not get permission.
Yeah,
But
yeah. That's very funny. Describe what sort of a day it might have been. You're traveling on the train. Now, in this case, I don't know where Houghton is, not the slightest. Was it near Buffalo or Syracuse or something along those lines? But probably about 4 hours or 5 hours by train.
Well, it was bitterly cold. I remember that.
Okay.
And I don't even remember what the hotel was like. You know what that sort of thing is.
I can imagine.
One hotel looks much like another, unless they're outstandingly good.
Yeah, this was a little before the ubiquitous motels. They were hotels with steam heat and things like that.
Yeah, no, this was a hotel, and it probably had steam heat, and I probably threw open all the windows, and I'm sure your father did too.
Yeah.
We didn't in those days walk around with our humidifiers, which was very silly of us because we should have been.
Yeah. So you would have arrived then sometime the previous day, I would assume.
We would have arrived sometime the previous day, or possibly we may have taken an overnight train. This is possible.
Uh-huh. Well, there were more trains then.
I don't think so. We did very little traveling by car, and bus was unthinkable.
Yeah.
And nobody thought of flying anyone anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Not really. So we either would arrive in that morning, go to the hotel, then go to the hall, check the acoustics. Donald would check the piano. We would have already known our program, rehearsed it, maybe done a little bit of this, that, or the other thing, never a whole program.
Mm-hmm.
If we were going to try something new, we would try that out.
Mm-hmm.
We spent very little time rehearsing in the hall.
Before any kind of a tour, where would you rehearse? In New York?
Yeah. And, I can't remember where. I think it was probably Donald's studio.
Mm-hmm.
I'm quite sure. That was the custom.
Mm-hmm. And now, let's say the concert is over.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, somebody's got to eat.
Well, yes, and you know what that is like. Sometimes it's wonderful, and sometimes it's appalling. And as I recall, I think this was pretty stingy.
Yeah.
I think that there was a ghastly fruit punch, and I don't even think it was sandwiches.
My father was always terribly fussy about food. If he didn't know what went into it, he didn't want to even try it.
Well, I mean, he scorned a great deal of what was being offered.
Yeah, I mean, little sandwiches that was not for him.
So that's not food.
Right, and of course there are no restaurants that are open.
There were no restaurants open, and I remember that we considered that a very black day in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
All the way around.
How long did you tour altogether? Do you recall that?
No, I don't remember. It was a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't 2 years straight, anything like that, because it didn't work that way. It'd be a week, 10 days of a few concerts here and there, and then I would have City Opera in between.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'd be another week or 10 days or 2 weeks somewhere else. And I toured a lot. I toured with him, and I toured with Tanya Thibault, and I toured with John Brownlee too. And somehow those tours all got mixed up in my head a little bit. But
I can understand that.
but Kipnis you don't forget.
He had, by the time you began doing concerts with him, he had stopped at the Met, I would say, easily 1 year, possibly 2.
I think you're right.
Do you know anything about that part?
Not a thing, although I think he was kind of close-lipped.
Yes, I know. That's why I'm asking.
But his feelings were not warm. I know that.
Toward the Met?
No.
Mm-hmm.
They were not warm. I had learned that you didn't press him for information. It didn't do any good.
No.
He told you what he wanted you to know.
Mm-hmm.
And he felt that the Met was going in a direction that he did not approve of. He felt that they were making poor choices as to singers, and he made it very clear that this did not refer to anything to do with himself.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked me if I had auditioned for the Met, and I had said no, I did not think that it was a place for a young singer, and he congratulated me on that.
I don't really know what caused the decision for him to leave the Met after the 46 season, because that was his last season there. Now, as far as I know, his voice was still in pretty good shape.
It was in excellent shape. I remember particularly that night in Houghton or Houghton, however they pronounce it. He did the death scene from Boris, and I had never heard him sound better. It was blood-curdling.
Did you ever, and this is a difficult question, and please don't hesitate to tell me exactly what you think, were there ever any moments in any of these concerts, 2 years' worth of concerts, that you felt somehow he was vocally indisposed or not quite up to what he might be under better circumstances?
Only sometimes towards the end of the concert, towards the end of a group, I would hear some fatigue.
Any pitch problems?
Sometimes. That was the fatigue, actually.
Okay.
Because it was flat.
He was terribly conscious of anything that detracted from what he considered the best possible quality of his voice.
Yeah.
As a result, there were a number of recordings that he made as far back as 1939 where there were just the tiniest deviations from proper pitch. And he rejected those recordings. Later on, he was sorry.
Yeah.
And he even okayed it in retrospect and agreed to their being issued on LP, which is fine. That's the way it ought to have been. But it was something that he paid a tremendous amount of attention to. If there was anything that wasn't quite right, he knew it, and he didn't want to expose himself.
No, and he was very good, and he was very good about telling me when he did not think that my phrasing was correct, or when he thought that there was a more effective way to present something, and I was very grateful for this. God knows he knew. But I did, there would be, he would always start out fine. He was, I never heard him warm up.
Now that's very interesting.
Now that doesn't mean he didn't.
But you didn't hear him?
I never heard him do it.
Either backstage or, let's say, in the hotel?
No.
He had a series of warm-up exercises, or I wouldn't say warm-up, just exercises, which he would make his students go through, which took something like 15 to 20 minutes at the start of every lesson, if you can imagine that. I mean, I could imagine a piano lesson with some important piano teacher teaching and taking a third or a quarter of that time just to have the student play scales. Somehow, it's a slightly different situation.
It's a different situation because with the vocalese, you're not just warming up. As a matter of fact, if a singer is smart and wants to get money's worth out of a voice lesson, and they should these days, of course, they cost $125 a piece. the singer is smart to warm up ahead of time, because the vocalese really is part of the building of the technique and maintaining of the technique and working out glitches. Sometimes that can be done in the repertoire, but it's just all that much more vocally exposed in the vocalese.
Well, I didn't mean that he was using uptime needlessly, hardly. He was, in fact, working on building up the technique of somebody, range, color, dynamics, the whole phrasing, everything. It's just that is very surprising in light of the fact that he spent so much time on that you never heard him warming up.
Never. Absolutely never.
Do you ever recall his having a little inhalator? It had eucalyptus oil. I don't think it was an inhalator. It was like a little spray with a rubber bulb on one end.
Yes, I seem to recall that.
Because that I do recall. And he would sort of lubricate the throat with that.
Yeah, that was not at all unusual.
As opposed, let's say, to Caruso, who lubricated by having a cigarette.
Yeah, well, great.
But a lot of people did that with the eucalyptus.
Yeah, the eucalyptus or camphor.
Yeah.
Whatever. This was not at all unusual. I don't know that it ever did a bit of good, but it made the singer feel better.
Oh, sure. That's the main thing.
Yeah. You feel that you're doing something that's good for your throat. As a matter of fact, I think it's been discovered that it's not so hot.
See, yeah, maybe I should have left it alone. But I'm sure some doctor probably told him this was a good thing to do as a regular routine.
Oh, I'm sure.
Whatever turns you on.
Oh, right.
When you weren't discussing things such as repertoire and his making suggestions to you, and it was just purely informal, what would you talk about? Or didn't that happen?
Oh, yeah, it happened, but mainly it was, he had a million anecdotes. And basically, I took the position, in a sense I look at it now, as I really sat at his feet, because he had so much to say, and I don't remember the anecdotes now. He always had a point in telling them, though. And I wish I could remember some of them.
Well, that's good. You're making some very good points yourself by telling me all of this.
Whenever he would tell me an anecdote, it would be like Aesop's fables. There was the moral.
Yeah.
And
did he comment on other singers at all?
He was a very generous colleague about other singers, especially other basses. At least with me. He seemed to have a very strong code about being a good colleague.
He was not a bad mouther.
No.
I remember very well that there were people that he really didn't care for, and they were always anonymous. They were always referred to as Mr. X, as in X.
Yeah.
And I still recall that.
Yeah, I think you're right, because perhaps if he had used names in the anecdotes, it would have stuck in my memory.
Sure.
But he instructed me, and I valued it.
Did he have anything that you can recall about either Met experiences or Chicago or something in Europe, Vienna or Berlin?
Oh yes, he talked about Europe a lot, because at that point I had not yet been to Europe, and he felt that this was appalling and that I must go as soon as possible. It took me quite a while to get there, but I did indeed go. Yes, he talked a great deal about Europe and what I would learn from being in Europe, and what he learned in mainly Vienna. He spoke about Vienna mainly.
I think he undoubtedly must have been terribly disappointed with the fact that the Anschluss caused his what was a 3-year contract to be curtailed by a year and prevent him from going back there. This, I think, must have been a very good time. I was much too young really to appreciate any of it. I certainly wasn't taken to any productions. But a lot of that now I have documented, at least so far as his performances are concerned. But I don't really know what went on in his mind. And there's very little, even though I've got an awful lot of material where he speaks on tape, interviews, or he's relating things. There's just not that much on that particular subject. So I was just curious whether there's anything in particular that you can recall.
No. He spoke with some bitterness about Germany. Exactly what he said, but it was so unusual to hear him be bitter about anything with me. But of course, how could one be anything other than sympathetic to that?
Sure. What caused the end of the touring?
The end of the touring happened, when W. Colston Lee was usually referred to by your father as Water Closet Lee.
Good. That's wonderful.
One or the other of us left him, and I think maybe it was both of us. Because Lee had gotten a little mad. By that I mean insane.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And basically I was needing to concentrate more on opera engagements and capitalize on the fact that the City Opera debut was still hot. And he did not have much in the way of opera company connections. Yeah. And I left him to go with another manager.
Who did you go to?
I went with Lustig.
And I don't think my father went to anybody after that, unless I'm terribly mistaken.
I think your father did not sing a lot after that. I don't know how long your father sang. You would know that.
Well, in my own memory, I think he must have stopped somewhere around 51. Conceivably 52. That was 52 was the year I graduated from college. So, since I wasn't home, I wasn't really aware of when he went out, what he did, anything like that. Did he, by any chance, ever mention anything about having pneumonia? He himself?
No.
Okay.
Not that I recall.
All right. I just wondered whether he had it before you began touring. Easily by 4 years or something like that. But I was just sort of trying to tie up the ends of all of this without really knowing where the end was.
Well, I think that he became more interested in teaching.
Was he already doing some at that point?
I think that he was starting, and he was starting because I was interested in the fact that he was teaching. But I think that he was concentrating on basses. Which, if you're just going to start teaching, that's a smart thing to do if you're a famous bass.
Well, yeah. On the other hand, he eventually wound up with all voice types.
Of course.
But at that point, he hadn't yet joined, I don't believe he had joined the New York College of Music.
No. Not to my knowledge.
Okay. That's what I needed to know. I will have to contact them and find out what records they have.
The record of that.
I'm sure.
Oh, sure.
I'm sure. Well, anything else that I haven't covered? I've asked as many questions as I possibly can, I think.
No, but I had just called Don Tommy to get your phone number to let you know that I may not be here.
Well, I'm so glad that you did, and I really apologize that I was late.
Perfectly all right, because there was a little. I'd written it down so strangely on the calendar that it could have been either today or tomorrow. And I thought, well, maybe it's tomorrow. And I thought, well, in case it isn't, I better call him and tell him that I may have to go out. As it turns out, I don't.
Oh, okay. And the telephone machine is working all right, whatever.
Yeah, everything's the machine's in heaven, all's right with the world.
Right.
But if I do think of something more specific, I will call you.
Please give me a call.
It's, as I said, it was. It doesn't sound this way from the way I am so vague, but it was a memorable experience for me.
There's a lot of good information that you have given me. I'm going to shut the machine off at this point. Would you like to say that once again? If you only
knew him from his performances and from the recordings, what you would miss would be the incredible warmth of the man, and the fact that he was also very funny.
You see, now that's an area that I have heard about, but something that I wouldn't necessarily be privy to. I know that he could laugh. Very often the laugh would be, I would say, more of a leader, or especially an operatic laugh, something associated with either the end of the Faust serenade or the song of the flea. In other words, just slightly sardonic.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's probably just me. I'm missing something there.
You knew him as a son.
Yeah, of course. So the funny parts I'm not really aware of.
Well,
I mean, really funny.
I think that what he did in Houghton was very funny.
Well, yes.
It was outrage,
Mm-hmm.
but it was a funny thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that I heard him laugh all that much, but I know that he made me laugh a lot.
Well, that's very good.
Yeah.
I'm delighted to hear it. Well, I know that he had an awful lot of stories, many, many anecdotes, all sorts of things.
Yes, and he also had a kind of spewed outlook, too.
How would you describe that?
I'm just trying to think that. I mean, you would look at something and you'd say, well, isn't that so-and-so attractive or different? And then he'd come out of left field with something, some bon mot or mot juste, that nobody else would have thought of.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And here I am, not able to even give you an example.
Well, if you think of one, give me a holler. All right?
I will.
I do thank you very much.
Not at
That's
all.
really
I wish you all
most
the best.
helpful. Well, it's a hell of a project, and thank God I'm not actually writing the bio part. But putting together the stuff is totally amazing to me at this point.